Welcome back to the Power of Words podcast. Our guest, Emree Franklin, shares the transformative power of stepping away from the fast-paced life in Los Angeles to find healing and clarity. In her words, I can't heal in a place where I got sick. This profound realization led to the bold decision to embrace stillness and simplicity. You won't want to miss this conversation, full of wisdom, courage, and the beauty of reinvention. Welcome back to the Power of Words podcast at SP Studios. Thank you, SP, for having us, Andy Woolman. And I am so excited. We release the podcast on Wednesdays for Wellness Wednesdays. I'm really excited to have here with me somebody that I've known for years now. We met at the first Grammys. Emree, welcome. And tell us a little bit. Let's tell the audience a little bit about you, what you do. I'd like it to come from you, so you can tell us where you started, what you're doing now, just as a quick introduction, and the good news.
Okay, sure. So I am a singer-songwriter. I'm an actress, and I met Deborah when I was performing at the City Party. And I had just been invited to the Grammys, and I was freaking out because I didn't have anything to wear. And you dressed me for it and took me under your wing. And then we've been friends ever since then. But
yes,
I grew up in a very small town in Washington State. I was performing at singing competitions. And from there I went to Nashville, made some EPs and wrote hundreds of songs, found my way to LA. Where I was introduced to the world of acting. And as soon as I kind of found myself in the acting world, I realized that I was obsessed with it and I loved it. And my life did a total flip from being just a musician to wanting to be on screen all the time. So that's where I'm at now.
I love having you here first because, we've had such a great relationship for the last several years. You've been the face of Télé Blanc for several seasons, and I'm so grateful to have had you, bring your energy, because you've got this beautiful energy, and thank you for always bringing that to a campaign. The COVID one was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that still makes me laugh.
Was
you
that
guys,
the one with the big hair when I had that
with
long,
big hair
the jewelry
and you were eating jewelry for lunch.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. And then the vacuum, the
Yes.
hoovering.
Oh, that was so good.
That was so cool.
I love that one.
Using it like a mic.
Yes.
Excuse me.
The hood, the witch season. I loved that hood.
Yeah, that was beautiful as well. But I want to, I would love for you to share, because we talk about vulnerabilities and sharing the power of your words.
Yeah.
You were right up there on the red carpet doing things so beautifully. And talk about what changed for you and how you went down that path, and you come here still looking beautiful. Life has its struggles, but I'd love to talk about your strength and your resilience.
Yeah. I think just being on this platform, what I want to say to that is social media is a highlight reel of everything. And so there's been all these amazing opportunities in my life where I'm constantly confronted with the highs and the lows, and how to be resilient during the lows, because the adrenaline is so high when you're on the red carpet, or you're having a film come out, or an album come out, or you're celebrating something. And then the next day you're kind of back into your real life and you have to climb the mountain again. And so for me, I've been dealing with a lot of the mental health aspects that come out of that. And I would say trying to find people in my life that love me for just me and are separate from my industry, because I think that can get confusing. And having people that I feel I can really be safe with and I can get a honest perspective from, which allows me to be vulnerable with them.
Let's talk about your journey. I was in France last year, and I wanted you to come and be a part of, because you've been so much a part of the brand, and this was a big opportunity for us to be in Cannes with Gary V.
Yeah.
And I hadn't realized, but my daughter Talia always keeps me up to date with what's going on with Emree. She's like, "Mom, have you heard what Emree's saying? And are you in touch with her? Because I think you should get in touch with her." And that's how I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And that was a struggle for you. I think that part of your life,
yeah.
you left the States and you went to France. Let's talk about that. And why did you go down that path?
Totally. I was at a place in my life in that moment where there was just a snowball of things happening that were traumatic, that were physically difficult. I had suffered a concussion. And so I could not get out of bed. I was having debilitating headaches. And the thing about concussions that's interesting is that you look like yourself, but you can't, it's hard to function. And it takes a long time to heal.
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, you isolate yourself from people. I was completely isolated. I couldn't go to parties. I couldn't hang out with my friends. I couldn't run, which is another piece of me and my meditation. I couldn't sing because I knocked my jaw out of alignment. So even opening my mouth hurt. And I couldn't act. I couldn't memorize any lines. I was completely at the lowest of low. And then following that, I got attacked by a dog. So I was dealing with, this dog attack, a couple other emotionally traumatic things happened to me. So it was kind of like the universe was telling me, whatever you're doing right now is not working. And you need to figure out a way to do something different. And being in that state of absolute stillness, I just had this kind of full body download to put my hands in the earth and leave my life in Los Angeles. And everything in my head was saying France, like go to France. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I can't do that. Like, I live here, I'm an actress. I can't put all my stuff in storage and go work on a farm in France. That's crazy. And I did. That's exactly
Work on a farm in France.
I did.
That's when I talked to you, and I was so confused.
I know.
It was like, is this your meditation? Is this something sometimes you make a commitment to do something if something happens, and you say, okay, I'm going to go and give back. But so you actually went and worked on this farm in France, and you were actually working. Talk about that and talk about what it did for you.
I just decided I wanted to shake it up in the most dramatic way that I possibly could. And I think also entertainers or people who are in modeling or acting or music, you're kind of always waiting for permission from a casting director or from a label or whoever to let you do the thing that you want to do. And what happens is you sort of get this like white knuckled grip on that thing. And something about energy is that the more that you try to grab it and control it, it actually pushes it away. And so I thought, this is really, really counterintuitive, but I'm not going to heal in LA, and I'm not going to be successful if I'm not healthy. So
emotionally healthy,
physically healthy. There's an energetic, I'm pushing everything away if I'm not healthy. And I can't heal in the place where I got sick. So I found this website called Woofing, which is a network of organic farms around the world that all participate. And you can go and they house you, they feed you, all in exchange for your labor.
Wow.
And it's free. So it's an incredible way to travel the world, and you get the most authentic experience with whatever group of people or country, language that you want, that you're looking for. So I said, I'm going to go to France, and I'm going to start in Bordeaux. Don't know why. No idea.
That's beautiful.
I'm just going to do it.
The way to be.
Yeah. And I found myself working on a vineyard in Saint-Emilion. And I'm not kidding, no one spoke English, not a word of English. So I dropped myself off in this literally 18th century farmhouse with 5 men who didn't speak English, and I was working in the in the vines with them. And it was this journey of, okay, my goal is to heal. Now that I'm here, oh my God, what have I done? This is wild. I made a huge mistake. And then, okay, can I learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable? And then it became, what can I learn from this stillness? And then it became, oh my gosh, I did that. I did the thing. I was there for 3 months. I did 3 different farms. And I kind of realized how strong I was. It was a massive paradigm shift for me mentally. Okay, I can do this, and this is exactly what I'm capable of.
Wow. Wow. To just shift your entire life from having everything and, being in LA and being on the music scene and acting, and just to go and be a normal farm worker where nobody knows you, nobody knows what you've done.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What did that do for you? What was your next step from there? Because I know you went straight into, what you love doing.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
In Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights, there's a line from it that says, want Hollywood, don't need Hollywood. And so when I was here on the farm, I was going through the pain of isolation. I was going through a language divide. I couldn't speak to anybody. I had to learn French real fast. And so it was a weird place of being at a dinner table with people. And me being me, I'm a conversationalist. I like to get into the deep conversation. And all I could do was, I couldn't dig.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm sitting across from someone. I go, I have so many questions for you. I'm so curious about you, but I can't ask you anything, and you can't ask me anything. And I was learning a lot about myself in that process of what energy am I giving off, even if I can't communicate. And then something, I think the messaging that I was getting when I was in that stillness with my concussion and after the dog attack is you're pushing this energy away. When I got to France, I was finding this just happiness in being. And then my agent called me and said, you have an audition for this show. And I thought, I'm never going to get an audition here. Like, okay, it's not why I'm here. I have an audition, great, I'll do it, but I don't have any expectations. I don't have anything. I'm not grabbing onto it. And it was an audition for this show that took place in 500 AD. And my character was in the Roman-occupied Britain. So period piece, like absolute dream role. And I just so happened to be living in an 18th century farmhouse. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, there's a connection there. There's a reason.
Yeah, I don't have a studio to film in. I don't have a backdrop for my self-tape. I don't even have someone to read opposite of me. So I did the audition in that house with like a Zoom reader and a bedside table lamp against this wall. And I ended up getting the part.
Congratulations.
And it was just this kind of like, okay. I wanted it, but I didn't need it. It didn't define me.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, the switch from shaking up my entire environment of the hustle and grind culture in Los Angeles or wherever you may be, and just finding happiness in being, I guess.
Wow, what a transition. So you got the part, and that took you to another part of Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. I did get the part. I didn't find out I got the part till 4 months later. So I had done my France chapter, and I remember thinking, if this is all that happens to me this year, that's great. Within 2 weeks, within a month of being in France, all my concussion symptoms went away.
Wow. Do you think it was just the stress that?
I think it was stress. I think it was trauma. I think it was food and water and physically what I was ingesting, fresh air, putting my hands on the earth, touching grass, like all those things. I just think sunlight and nutrition and your environment is the best medicine. So I think it was all of that, allowing myself to take a break from having, I had 3 jobs. I was a nanny, I was a personal assistant, I was working at catering events, like I was burning the candle at all ends and just trying to keep myself afloat. And I wasn't very good at figuring out how to utilize my energy.
And also, sometimes I think what brings you peace and calmness is not being attached to any material, anything material.
Yeah.
Like you went to France with nothing.
Yeah.
And all you had was just food and people around you that you could not communicate with. Oh my God, that's like being in a silent meditation.
Yeah.
You go to these retreats where you can't speak. I mean, but that must have had its upside because you made the effort to learn French.
Absolutely. I got to learn this beautiful language.
Yeah, there's something so great about that. You got to learn something about farming.
Yeah.
But how many people would actually take that step to just give up everything and leave, give up your life and leave? Because you never know what's going to happen next, or if you're ever going to come back to the life you had. And taking this step and making this decision actually brought you back.
Yeah.
And where did you shoot? In Budapest?
We were in Budapest,
Yeah. That's beautiful.
For 5.5 months, yeah.
That's amazing. And you finished the series or film?
The series, yeah.
The series and came back to LA.
Yes.
Talk to me about where you are now.
Yeah. I think that when I came back from France, I thought, okay, this year was amazing. I healed myself. Whatever happens the rest of the year is a cherry on top of whatever this was. And I was back, I'd given up my apartment in LA. I was back living with my parents on San Juan Island. And I was like, okay, like this is fine. This is fine. I'm good. And then I got the call and I went to Budapest and I was like, oh my God, this is even better. Like this is my dream role. This is amazing. And then something really interesting happened where I did all this healing and I did all this work. And then I end up back in the States after I just shot this incredible show. And I thought, I'm unstoppable now. It's just up from here. I became the most depressed I've ever been in my life. It was an absolute top of the mountain to the lowest of low. And I was like, this is confusing. And I was starting talking to producers on the show. I talked to my mentor. I talked to other actors. And everyone said either this will happen or the other actors said I'm going through the same thing as well.
I'm so happy for you sharing this because I can't tell you how many people give up everything they've got to come to LA looking for a career.
Yeah.
And are in the same boat.
Yeah. I do remember it was important to us as a cast. The last day of shooting, we were having a wrap party and we all had to fly out the next day. And like 5 of us were sitting in someone's living room, like all lying on the floor, just being like, oh my God, and we were all so close throughout filming. And one of my co-stars said, it's really important that we're all there for each other in this next chapter. It's really important that if so-and-so calls whoever, you pick up the phone because no one else is going to be able to relate exactly to what we just went through. And it's really important that we're there for each other so we can be vulnerable and talk about how maybe we're not doing so great post this huge adrenaline, And that was, I've always thought about that. And I'm really, really grateful that she said that. And the cast, we all have been able to reach out to each other. And sometimes, this goes back to the power of words. You have to remind yourself that you're something, but then you have to hear it from somebody else.
You need the support.
Yeah.
You need the community.
Yeah.
It is so important. And I think that with everything we go through in mental health, in the mental health space, they do, everything that's being done is needed. You need your therapist, you need your psychotherapist, you need your medication, you need your psychiatrist, you need everything that people are doing, the yoga, name it.
Yeah.
But once you leave that space, you're on your own. And the only thing that can help you survive is the community you build around you, which is what we try to do, is how do we build this community that understands our emotions? And I can't wait to share with you because I just got back. I've been traveling and I haven't been able to coordinate with you. Yeah. And I'm so happy to have you here today because this is the first time we meet. I think we tried last year, but it may be 2.5 years since you left, and and we're back here again, but I can't wait to share with you what we've started to do with emotional intelligence and how we can help build this community around us, because that is what we need, and that is what we're lacking.
Yeah.
We lack understanding each other.
Yeah.
And when you start to share your emotions and you have just these emotions, this is what you go by. These are your tools to deal with all the negativity that comes to your mind. You have the tools to deal with it. But then when you're in a room or in a space or around people that also understand you, you're equal. There's no judging. And you can talk freely, or you can just be aware of your own emotions until you're ready to talk about it. But it teaches you focus, it teaches you self-awareness, it teaches you leadership to maybe look at someone else and reach out to them because they need help, and you never know. And it's connecting with a perfect stranger at times if you're part of that bigger community.
Absolutely. I noticed something too is, there have been some dark moments, and when I'm at that place, something that's the most helpful for me is to reach out to somebody else and say, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's interesting how that flips the switch.
It does. It so does. And, at your weakest moment is go out and, what did they say about, problems shared are problems halved, joy shared are joys doubled. But there's also something to be said for helping someone else is healing yourself.
Yeah, so true. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, you've got you're such a beautiful human being. You've got such great talent. You're also a musician. And I love that every time we shoot a campaign, you bring your guitar with you. It's so beautiful. And I know you had music that you hadn't released. And when we texted while I was in Hawaii, you told me, tell us about that. You just dropped your
I did.
music.
Yeah. This music has been alive for a long time. I wrote these songs probably 6 years ago. I went through multiple producers, multiple different variations of arrangements, and there was just always a force at work that was stopping me from releasing it. And I kind of got to a place where I thought, maybe I won't release it. I'm an actor now, and this is taking up 99% of my schedule. Maybe I won't release it. And I think that part of France and that stillness was like, no, you have to release it. Why would you not? So I released it without any necessarily expectations that I had when I was 21 of being a pop star. I just wanted to share what I had created. And so it's out now. It lives on Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming platforms. And it was like closing a chapter on my 20s, honestly. And the parts of that journey and that struggle. And I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. I'm really happy for you, and it's out there. And how can people find your music?
And just Google Emree Franklin. And, it's on every music streaming platform, so you can find it anywhere.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So Google Emree Franklin, and we can find her music on there. And any other music that she has released. What's next for you? What are you looking for? What do you want to do next?
Yeah,
what's the magic inside of you calling for?
It's a great question. My question of the week with my therapist and my mentor is how to be happy when I'm not on set. Because I even had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday. I was helping him prepare for an audition, and we were just like, being on set is the most amazing, magical place in the world. How do we be happy when we're not there? And it's through creation. And so I'm finding magic in writing again. And I am finding magic in producing, because as an actor, I got tired of waiting for someone to give me permission to do the thing that I want to do. So I am going to Toronto in a couple of days to produce a movie, and then I'm producing my friend's movie in New Jersey in September that I have a small role in, but I'm mostly tackling the behind the camera stuff. And that's bringing me a lot of joy. I also feel like what I learned the most is when I get an audition for a big show or a big project, yes, I want it, but it's not going to make or break me if I don't get it. Yeah. So pushing that desperation away and just focusing on what magic I have in the moment is very helpful.
And I also do believe, and firmly believe, that our path is already paved.
Yeah.
And where you are is exactly where you're meant to be. Mm-hmm. So if you don't get something that you're hoping to get or that you've auditioned for, it's just because it's not meant for you.
No.
But sometimes people shut down.
Yeah.
Like, this didn't work for me, so I'm just going to feel bad about it and get into that mood. But the reason that didn't work for you, because there's something around.
There's something else.
Pay attention to what's around you and turn around and look for it.
Absolutely.
Because if you keep, when we dwell on something that hasn't worked, we're not going to look, we're going to be blind to everything else that's there for us.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited for you, and I'm excited to see what comes next. And I know we will do another podcast to get the rest of your journey in however many weeks or however many months, because what you're going through is what so many millions of young people are going through. Not just young people, but of every age that are in any kind of industry, but more so in yours, in the music industry, in the acting industry, in the design world. Yeah. Everybody wants to be a fashion designer. How many designers do you actually find? But what's next? What else can we look for?
Yeah.
Emree, thank you for sharing your journey and your story. And please download Emree's music. I have her here. She's a beautiful human being, and I want to support her. And I would love for all of you to support her. And let's cheer her on this journey. We love you, and thank you for being such a big part of my life as well, and everything that I've aspired to do.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.